We got a show for you today. We got mail-in ballots, we got Girl Scouts, and we've got riots. Get ready, because here we go. Let's mediate.
On March 28, 2020, the governor of New York announced that he was delaying his state's April election.
I don't think it's wise to be bringing a lot of people to one location.
18 other states had already delayed or modified their spring elections.
It would endanger public health to allow thousands of people to assemble.
But the state of Wisconsin made a different call.
The only state to move ahead with its election.
Polls, if you can believe it, are open in Wisconsin this morning.
On April 7th, voters in Wisconsin got in line, waited for hours, standing 6 feet apart, wearing masks, with some poll workers in full protective gear. One voter made a sign that seemed to sum up the situation perfectly.
So that's what was being said back in spring. People were freaking out. Should we go vote? Should we not? Should we? And now we're seeing what?
I am coming to you from the Roberts family voting booth here at my dining room table.
This is Dave. He's at home in Seattle, Washington. Dave's done a lot of reporting on what he says is a simple solution to how America can vote during the pandemic.
Tens of millions of people in America vote by mail now every election, and it's fine.
Washington is one of the few states that runs its entire election through the mail.
I think I've been voting by mail since I got to Washington in 2000. I mean, everyone who's done it loves it.
So are we scared to vote? Are we not scared to vote? Do we mail? Do we not mail? What do we want to do?
Are you worried
about the election?
Your ballot won't come in the mail in time.
Not sure where you'll be on election day?
Worried about long lines?
Or in-person voter intimidation?
Or dying alone in a horrific tractor accident only to be eaten by coyotes and large birds? Hey, don't be.
Give us 50 seconds to explain why.
You ready?
The most effective way to vote in this election
is to vote early and in person.
When we say in person, we mean
two things.
1, show up and vote.
Just like you would on election day. Just early.
On your own time.
2, pick up and cast your absentee ballot
or the mail-in ballot you already received in the mail
at any early voting site. And it's the best way to ensure
that your vote is received and counted on time.
States are ensuring it's safe, including social distancing,
masks, and disinfecting. So
visit votewith.us to find out when your state votes early,
where to go, what to bring with you, and that's all you need to know.
Large birds and tractors did not pay for the content of this ad, nor is this a real ad. However, coyotes approve of this message and cannot be trusted.
So we're talking about mail-in voting. And so The Atlantic put out an article recently. It says, how voting by mail could cost Biden the election. Okay, so now they're concerned about Biden. Not your health or anything else, Biden's election. And so it says, while in-person voting looks safer than expected, mail-in voting looks more dangerous, not because of fraud, but because of human error and partisan politics. So now it became about politics, not about your health. So initially, okay, so it says, the message was heard loud and clear in August, Wall Street Journal NBC poll found that roughly half of Biden voters expect to cast their ballot by mail this fall. An unprecedented figure. It says voting in person is probably not as dangerous as Democratic leaders initially feared. We received the message over and over and over. Don't go in. Protect yourself, your health, this and that. And the Democratic leaders urged everybody not to vote in person, while the Republican leaders pretty much said, go vote in person. Now we're hearing the opposite. Why? Well, let's see. It says experts now say that voting with a mask on is no more dangerous than going to a grocery store with a mask on, something millions of Americans do every week, of course, because otherwise we starve, right? This is no different. It's your right. Go vote, wear a mask, protect yourself. Don't listen to these crazy people. They're insane. They changed their mind, including Fauci, right? He said, masks work. Masks don't work. It doesn't do any good. It protects the other person. It doesn't protect you. Now, if we wear a mask, he's coming out recently saying if we wear masks again and we make it a mandatory that we all wear masks, we're going to save thousands more lives. But initially, he said they don't even work. Insanity. While in-person voting looks safer than expected, mail-in voting looks more dangerous, not because of fraud, but because of human error and partisan politics. Mail-in votes require several steps in different locations, including postmarking the ballots, signing in various places, and using the proper number of envelopes. For that reason, it can confuse first-time voters and even experienced voters used to queuing at local high schools. So I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Just go in and vote. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not saying I'm verifying that you're going to be fine. All I'm saying is if you're going to the store, just take the same precautions. Be careful. take care of yourself. Don't cough on anybody. Don't let anybody cough on you. And just go in and submit it. Just do your thing. You'll probably be fine. Again, not a medical doctor, not giving you medical advice, not saying, hey, you're free to do this. All I'm saying is that's what I'm doing. That's it. So the concern now, again, forget your health. The concern is that first-time voters, and even those who are experienced, but most of those first-timers, that their votes may not come through because of voter error. So again, let's throw everything out as far as your health. We're more worried about the election here. Go vote in person. Kind of hypocritical, to be honest. 2 studies of the 2018 midterm elections in Florida and Georgia found that young and minority voters are especially likely to have their mail ballots rejected. Okay, so if you're a minority or young, you're too stupid and you may mess it up. That's ultimately what they're saying. Okay, so now we're concerned because apparently, I think that's a big chunk of the people who may be voting for Biden. So now we're a little concerned. Not about your health, worried about your vote being cast out and not counted. In the 2020 primaries, more than 550,000 mail-in absentee ballots were disqualified, a much higher number than 4 years ago. So they had this information. This is from 2020 primaries, okay? And they also said 2018. They had this information, and they said there's nothing wrong with mail-in ballots. And now they're saying, oh, no, wait. No, there is. There were errors before, but they were saying there weren't any. Ridiculous. Listen to yourself. Listen to your gut. Listen to your common sense. Do what makes sense. Don't follow these crazy people. Let's move on. But isn't that what we've said all along? Go in and vote. If you could go into Walmart, you can go into any store, Target, Walmart, anywhere. Get on an airplane next to people, just with masks. Go vote. You're going to be 6 feet apart at least, probably more. And you're going to sit there with your own pen if you like. And you're going to sit there and just circle a few bubbles, turn it in, and walk out. You're not going to be touching all the merchandise like you do when you go to Walmart. You're not going to be doing all these things. You're just going to walk in, submit it, and you're done. We've been saying that for months. And now it's like, okay, everything we've said before, mail-in voting's fine. Why does he not want mail-in voting? And it's what's he up to, so on and so forth. Just go in. You do it for everything else. You got to live life a little bit. Come on. So real quick, it says Trump votes in person and slams mail-in voting as campaign urges voters to vote by mail. President Trump slammed mail-in voting on Saturday after voting in person in Florida, even as his campaign encourages voters to vote like Trump by sending in mail-in ballots. So they're saying that he initially said that he would send in his by mail to encourage the population, of course, and now he's voting in person. If you want to just do what you want to do, mail it, go in. Like I said many times before, I'd rather go in. I'm just that person. I'm the one who wants to see it. Go in. I don't trust you. I'm gonna put in my ballot in there. I'm gonna make sure and verify it myself. Sorry, I have little faith in people. I have faith in God, not in people. Trump claimed that mail-in voting, by contrast, could never be secure like that, after toning down his hostile rhetoric on mail-in voting in recent weeks in the run-up to the election. So again, he's always talked against it. And let's take a look at this video.
As you know, the Democrats aren't approving the proper funding for postal, and they're not approving the proper funding for this ridiculous thing that they want to do, which is all mail-in voting. If universal, you could call it mail-in voting. Again, absentee voting is great. You request, I'm an absentee voter because I requested, I got, and then I sent in my vote. So that works out very well. That's what we've had. But now they want to send in millions and millions of ballots. And you see what's happening. They're being lost. They're being discarded. They're finding them in piles. It's going to be a catastrophe.
On my honor, I shall try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law.
So the next article here, it says Girl Scouts delete tweet congratulating Amy Coney Barrett after pushback. Okay. Rule number 1. When it comes to cancel culture, don't allow them to cancel you. Just don't. If you did something that offends them, so be it. Move on and say, well, sorry, you don't like it. It's like anything else, right? Some people don't like chocolate chip. Some people don't like strawberry ice cream. Some people you don't like this? Oh, well, move on. I'm not changing what I said, especially in this situation. You have the Girl Scouts essentially saying congratulations to a woman, number 5. And this is from Discern, by the way. There's many other ones out there, but this one It's a different approach or a different outlook. It says female Supreme Court justice, and it has all five who've been there. It says since 1789, female Supreme Court justices, and here's the five ladies. So Sandra Day O'Connor, Sonia Sotomayor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elena Kagan, and Amy Coney Barrett. And the point to this that they put this out was to say essentially that what progress we've made. We've had five since 1789. We've added another one. Obviously, it's a very small representation, right? So since 1789, well, let me just read it to you. It says, congratulations, Amy Coney Barrett, on becoming the fifth woman appointed to the Supreme Court since its inception in 1789. Women are moving forward. Let's congratulate her because she is a woman in this position. And on top of that, which I don't believe they commented on, but the fact that she has a different approach. We just saw what the pledge was for the Girl Scouts. I think Amy Coney Barrett fits that pledge very well. And there's no reason to apologize. There isn't. She is going to do her job. She's going to do it well, I think. And they should just let that be. Whenever you give in to this crazy cancel culture, you lose. Why? Because whether you apologize or you don't, they still cancel you. It doesn't make a difference. Stand your ground. Say, here's what we stand for. Here's the reason which this had nothing wrong with it, and move on. They'll have to get used to it. Why? Because I don't have to like strawberry ice cream, which I do, but I don't have to like something that you don't. Let's just make that clear. You do what you do. I'll do what I do. I have good reason to do this. If you don't like it, too bad, so sad. That's just how life works. Okay, so this was published a couple of days ago, Fox News. It says, National Guard deployed to Philadelphia. And so the reason I just threw this in here is because just to show the severity of what's going on over there. So they've had a couple days of riots. Tonight, we're probably having some more issues out there. But it came down to, let's get the National Guard out here. And so they also had some unrest. They had some curfews. They had different things going on. And ultimately, it's regarding Walter Wallace, who was shot and killed by police officers. So this man came out, apparently had mental health issues, came out, and he ended up running towards these officers with a knife in his hand. That's been verified by witnesses. Came at them with a knife in his hand, and he ultimately was endangering them. Now, people are saying, well, they could have used less lethal force. They could have shot him in the leg, the arm. Same thing we hear all the time. Unfortunately, they also didn't have any tasers or anything. But I'm not sure that they would have used a taser when somebody's running at you with a weapon. It's a weapon. That's just the truth. So when somebody is charging an officer with a weapon, or let's just say even if you didn't have one, if you charge an officer, you're gonna be in trouble. That's just common sense. They're going to defend themselves. They may actually shoot you. They may tase you. They may do something. Why? Because they don't know what is going on. But in this case, he had a knife, charged the officer, was shot 14 times apparently, and he was taken down. The guy was unstable. That's what they're reporting. I don't know. It hasn't been verified. I haven't seen anything that has verified that from a doctor or anybody, but that's what's being said. And the neighbors were saying the same thing. Some of the pictures they had out of him, that he looks like a regular old, regular Joe, just out there. But who knows? I mean, pictures don't tell you everything. Point is, so on Action News, ABC 6 over in Philadelphia, it's saying Walter Wallace Jr.'s family does not want Philadelphia officers to face murder charges, attorney says. So the family has now watched the body cam footage. They haven't shown it to us. The body cam footage from the officers. And the mom was there. She actually witnessed it. It's sad. But point being that they watched the video and they've come to the conclusion, at least for now, that they don't want the officers to face murder charges, the attorney says. Their attorney. And so it says family Walter Wallace Jr. is not calling for the Philadelphia police officers who fatally shot him to be charged with murder. Family attorney Shaka Johnson told reporters on Thursday. They were improperly trained and did not have the proper equipment by which to effectuate their job, Johnson said. And so that's what they're claiming. They had obvious mental health issues. And so the issue here again, guy charged the officers. The officers shot back. He apparently had mental health issues. Parents, for some reason, are understanding that they don't want them to face murder charges. They were I guess, defending themselves. But they did make the statement that they weren't properly trained or did not have the proper equipment. I'm thinking they're thinking that they didn't have a taser or something. Don't know. It's sad. It's unfortunate. But given what happened, well, guess what we had? Riots, which is what we just saw. And of course, looting. Tons of looting. There were Walmarts being looted. There were CVS's, different stores that I saw in there. And people were just, again, taking advantage of the situation. And they just went in there and stole what they wanted. It's a sad situation. And when you look at the neighborhood, they did go and protest in the neighborhood where this person was shot, which is where he lived. So obviously, I'm assuming, I've never been there, but I'm assuming it's a black neighborhood. And here's where they're looting and doing things. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense at all, especially when you watch the video. And there's reason to believe that the officers responded in a way that, they felt threatened. So that being said, federal indictments announced in Philadelphia, police vehicle arsons amid riots back in May. So back when the George Floyd incident happened, there were some incidents where police vehicles were being burned. And now they've caught up with some of these people, and apparently they are going to face federal charges. From my understanding, there are 4 on here, and there's some others elsewhere that are going to face federal charges, which essentially are between 7 years and I believe it was 65. Somewhere in there, depending on the charges. They may be facing some serious prison time along with fines and other things. It's serious, guys. I mean, that's a dangerous situation when you have a vehicle burning in the middle of the street. There's, BLM on it. They tagged it and then they burned it. That's not only dangerous, but you're also just, it's destroying everything. It's ridiculous. Again, peaceful protest, yes, assemble, show that there's concern, but don't go killing, destroying, and just being insane.
Police in Philadelphia say they found a van loaded with explosives and other suspicious items. They recovered propane tanks, torches, and what could be sticks of dynamite. The bomb squad is investigating. That discovery came during the city's newly imposed curfew after the deadly police shooting of Walter Wallace. Protesters violating that curfew faced off with police on the city's west side overnight. One day earlier, 30 officers were injured when demonstrators threw objects at police, forcing them to retreat.
So this is by ABC News. So apparently a van full of explosives was found in Philadelphia following a week of social unrest, police state. So they found this van and it had propane tanks. It had what looked to be dynamite. It had a bunch of different things that were set up as explosives. And that is a huge concern, especially during these riots. It looked like they were planning on doing something very, very chaotic here, very intense. They were going to blow something up. This is getting insane. What comes to my mind is we're days away from the election. I wonder if this had anything to do with that, because there's a lot of talk out there and preparation for very, very possible riots depending on the outcome. And some people say it doesn't matter the outcome. They're going to have some violence no matter what. That being said, they found this van. Be careful, people. There's some craziness going on right now. There's also some people who are inciting this on purpose. And so just be mindful, protect yourselves, protect your family, and just watch out. Watch out. Stay in prayer, stay hopeful, and just do your thing. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. All right, guys, that's what we got for you today. Interesting stuff, craziness all over the place, a lot of stuff going on. But again, thank you guys for stopping by. We try to bring you the latest news as best as possible, try to break it down. And just remember, like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell. Subscribe, because that's the only way that you're going to hear consistently what's coming out. And also to follow us. At this point, it looks like YouTube is making changes to the way they run things, their algorithms. And unless you subscribe, you're not going to receive these videos. So again, thank you for stopping by. Like, subscribe, share, and share. And come back, and don't forget to visit our other channel, which is One Mediator Cross Analysis, where we take some of these news articles and we talk about them through a biblical lens, where we can see things through God's perspective, not just ours. So check that out. Stop by. We'll have some new things out for you guys to look at. And again, thank you guys. Bye.